last about 10 years, there's been a huge increase in the amount of opioid use and opioid abuse and dependence. In addition, there's been a really stark increase in overdose related to opioid abuse.
It is a fact most of America does not want to face, certainly not to admit out loud. But more than ever, we are a drug-dependent nation. And we're not talking about the meds helping us to live better lives. We're focusing on abuse that is killing us, as the number of yearly deaths from drug overdose in the USA has more than doubled. Let's welcome to MidPoint, co-founder of the Interventions, Assessments, and Sober Living Facility in Brooklyn, New York, and editor-at-large for thefix.com, Joe Schrank. Joe, thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
Joe, it's frightening when you look at this. From 1999 to 2012, according to the CDC, drug overdose deaths from painkillers and heroin have risen 6.1 per 100,000 population. That is an unbelievable amount. We're talking about in 2012, 41,000 drug overdose deaths. Why? Why is it that with all the education, all the anti-drug messages that are out there, why are we proceeding at such a frightening pace?
Because we've done the same thing over and over for 40 years to try to address the drug problem. We're never going to incarcerate our way out of it. The messaging of just say no is ineffective for a complex brain malady. And when the culture is flooded with these medicines that do have a legitimate purpose, it makes people who are prone to addiction anyway more susceptible to a more severe addiction.
So if we're not going to put them in jail, and many will agree with you, they'll say that you simply just cannot put people away. What are we not doing? Where have we failed?
We're not offering treatment. We're not offering accessible treatment. Treatment works. Treatment is viable. People do get better. We're bowing to the pharmaceutical companies who are amassing wealth with this. 114 people daily die of overdose. That's more than car accidents. Most people have known or know of somebody who was killed in a car accident. So just to put this in context, there's more people who overdose and die than are killed in car accidents. Essentially, we're dumping bodies in emergency rooms, and ultimately, the taxpayer is who gets left with that tab. A lot of these people are uninsured. Whether Obamacare takes care of that at some point, who knows? But the pharmaceutical companies are not doing their part. There should be a significant amount of money that is designated for treatment and recovery services to help people get off of these things, as well as their legitimate medical purposes.
I got about 90 seconds left. I want to get a couple of things in. You talked about treatment. There are some people that would say, wait a minute, Joe, there's plenty. There's Alcoholics Anonymous, there's Drugs Anonymous, there's all these different places. What do you mean we don't have enough treatment?
Right. Alcoholics Anonymous and 12-step programs can be effective for some people. They are largely ineffective if you look at the numbers. And that's not treatment, that's mutual help, and that's community-based support, which is a critical piece of this puzzle, but it is not solely the answer. We have relied on that for far too long. Addiction, especially opiate addiction, requires medical attention from a medical doctor. It is more than behavioral modification. It's not just yelling at people. It's not just making them scrub the toilet with a toothbrush. All of those things are proven ineffective, and it doesn't help the individual, the family, or the community. And so we really need to rethink how we approach addiction, and this should be a huge part of the 2016 dialogue as we move towards the presidency and that election, because if we're just going to continue to dump bodies, that's not for a compassionate society or an enlightened society.
Okay, then 20 seconds. First starting point. What do we do right now, Joe?
Right now, we make the pharmaceutical companies, we hold them accountable, we take them down Tobacco Road, and we make them finance the cost of this. They just amass wealth. They have no compassion. They've raised the cost of naloxone, which can save somebody who is in immediate crisis and overdosed. And it's just wrong. It's absolutely wrong.
We're going to continue this conversation because it's frightening to look at some of these numbers. We haven't even touched on the heroin-related deaths that are out there as well. I want to remind everybody that your website is reboundbrooklyn.com, where they can learn a little bit more about you, a little bit more about what you do, and hopefully just get themselves a little bit of information to try and stop this. But Joe, trust me, we're going to be talking again very soon. I thank you for your time and your comments.
Thank you.
All right, when we return, a related addiction tale from the United Kingdom. And then there is the tragic reality of slavery that people don't seem to realize is still very much a part of a global community at the moment. It's all part of Spanning the Globe right here on MidPoint, where we question everything.